Robert Bryce, Power Hungry: The Myths of a Green Energy and the Real Fuels of the Future. In the book Power Hungry: The Myths of a Green Energy and the Real Fuels of the Future, Robert Bryce exposes the impracticality of renewable energy sources and explains why transitioning away from hydrocarbons will take most of this century. In today's world, hydrocarbon-fueled electricity remains fundamental as it is cheap, plentiful, and efficient. However, moving towards N2N energy sources, natural gas in the short run and nuclear power in the long run, has the potential to provide consistent power without environmental damage. The summary sheds light on common energy myths, lays out the importance of understanding energy and power, and suggests recommendations for a more efficient energy system.
America's energy choices. Fossil fuels are the backbone of America's economy due to their cost, scale, power density, and energy density. While proponents of green energy may not comprehend the impracticality of wind, solar, and biomass energies from a business perspective, moving away from hydrocarbons is a requirement for the 21st century. It demands a staggering and extended investment in N2N energy sources such as natural gas for the short term and nuclear power for the long haul. Both sources have the potential to provide all the power needed without the carbon dioxide emissions of oil and coal. The truth about renewable energy. The world needs to shift away from fossil fuels to renewable energy sources due to climate change concerns. However, a growing consensus challenges this notion, claiming we won't be able to replace hydrocarbons anytime soon. The renewable energy push is based on a false belief that renewable sources are greener than hydrocarbons. The average person's lack of scientific and mathematical literacy allows pundits to push their alternative energy agenda. Energy density, power density, cost, and scale are the four imperatives that must be evaluated to determine the efficiency of a fuel source. Natural gas and nuclear power plants are more efficient than wind and solar installations, requiring less space and producing lower carbon emissions. It is unlikely that urbanites will abandon the energy supply that makes their improved lifestyles possible anytime soon. Wood, coal, and oil have all been predominant power sources throughout history, with oil being one of the most versatile and efficient fuels. Energy myths. The U.S. public has been fed up with misinformation about energy sources. The summary highlights several myths about wind and solar energy, Denmark's energy model, carbon dioxide taxation, electric cars, and oil. In reality, such sources require much more land and transmission lines than nuclear power. Wind power does not reduce CO2 emissions, and Denmark is still dependent on coal. Taxing carbon dioxide is not economically feasible, and electric cars cannot compete with gas-powered ones. Furthermore, replacing coal with wood is not a viable option. The future of U.S. energy supply. The U.S. energy supply is transitioning towards natural gas and nuclear power due to the looming decline of coal and oil production. Natural gas and nuclear power are the only sources capable of providing the level of continuous electricity the nation needs without environmental damage. Technological innovations in fracking have provided access to an abundance of natural gas, while private ownership of mineral rights has fueled job creation. However, fracking has provoked environmental concerns including groundwater contamination and excessive water consumption. Nuclear power remains the most environmentally friendly hydrocarbon in use, but it is expensive and faces opposition from environmentalists. Nuclear waste disposal is also a problem but can be addressed through storage and reprocessing. There are new developments in small modular reactors using thorium instead of uranium that offer promise as a solution. Despite political opposition, progress is possible for the future of U.S. energy. Green power, misconceptions and practical solutions. The author dispels myths surrounding green power and proposes practical solutions to improve U.S. energy policy and reduce reliance on hydrocarbon. Green energy has been gaining popularity, but the public's perception of it may not align with reality. The author argues that what people often consider green power may not be entirely environmentally friendly. However, given the popularity and support of wind and solar energy, their use will continue to grow. The author suggests a end-to-end plan, supporting natural gas and nuclear power through tax breaks, increasing domestic gas and oil production, working on energy efficiency, and developing energy storage technology and renewable fuels. The author also presents several additional recommendations, such as supporting the International Atomic Energy Association to obtain a better handle on nuclear materials worldwide. The U.S. needs to dislodge Iowa from its critical, early primary role in presidential elections to reduce the influence of corn ethanol in energy policy making. The country also needs more engineers in public office, and a better education system that teaches science and math to children. Looking for guidance, the author suggests that the U.S. government can learn from Iran, which is rapidly growing its natural gas vehicle fleet, and France, which produces almost 80% of its electricity from nuclear power and handles waste expertly. To achieve a more sustainable future, the U.S. must stop wasteful hydrocarbon habits, such as cutting away mountaintops for coal mining or burning off natural gas. Finally, the author recommends streamlining the federal agencies and congressional panels that have a say in U.S. energy policy, as it has made decision-making difficult. Ultimately, the goal of cheap energy at home and abroad should be a central national goal, pursued with the understanding that it is critical to global prosperity. Once people depoliticize this issue and work towards abundant and cheap electricity, real progress might be possible.
Bryce argues that natural gas and nuclear power are the only feasible means to meet the United States' future energy demands, without causing environmental harm. He highlights the imperative of debunking common energy myths and encourages a focus on the four imperatives: energy density, power density, cost, and scale. Policymakers should support end-to-end energy sources, work for greater energy efficiency, and continue exploring energy storage technology and renewable fuels. Additionally, learning from international examples, like Iran's growing fleet of natural gas vehicles and France's successful nuclear energy management, can drive positive change in America's energy systems. Ultimately, we need to understand that abundant, cheap electricity is essential for global prosperity and should work towards real progress in energy policies.